doing?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Listen, I was having tech issues, from listening to Wait For Me, Virginia, and Toots and the Maytals back and forth.
Oh, yeah, man. Toots. We lost them.
We lost them. Can you believe that, man?
We played with them once. In Pittsburgh at a festival.
Did you?
Yeah, really nice. Cool guy, man. It was cool crew, cool band.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mike, man, so excited to be talking to you, man.
Yeah. Where are you at right now?
Miami.
Oh, Miami. Nice.
Miami, which
Very
is
nice.
funny because actually I saw you guys perform and I didn't even know this was going to happen like 5 years ago, obviously. But I remember thinking those guys are good.
All right.
And this was for the Counting Crows, man.
Oh yeah, at the that was the first night of the tour, I think. Was that Miami?
Yeah,
Miami,
downtown
yeah.
Miami.
Yeah, man. We did a after party after that. Actually, we played at a place called, I want to say it was called what the hell? Was it Bardot? Was that a place down there in Miami? Yeah. We played like a little speakeasy kind of place after. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So it's funny. Like when I was like doing the research and listening to music, I'm like, I've seen Mike. Absolutely, man.
You've heard this band before.
Yeah, dude. And it's great when that happens because it's like, yeah, I thought they were good. But anyway, Mike, it's a pleasure to have you, man.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, dude. So I just have to say every description of your band on the internet is just spot on, dude. Whether it's, music described as sounding just as alive today as it would have in 1966 or will, forever from now on, or my personal favorite, a point where Tom Petty and the band might have crossed paths, dude.
All right. Pretty good.
That's like this show. That's the DNA right there. I
That's
get that too. That's beautiful, man. So anyway, yeah, dude. So welcome to the show. Mike, we are in mid. So let me introduce you to my audience. You are Mike Montali. You're the vocalist, guitarist for the Hollis Brown band.
That's right. Hollis Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, great band. I encourage everyone to listen to you guys. But yeah, we're in mid-September, Mike. Believe it or not, 2020. How would you characterize this year for you, man?
Oh man, this year was a roller coaster so far. I'm in New York, so the quarantine and the pandemic hit. We had big plans for a lot of touring this year.
Yeah.
And we started off the year playing a bunch of shows, and then, as you know, everybody's playing, no matter what you are or what you do or who you are, morphed. So, well, we're just getting by. I'm a New Yorker, and I'm still here, and I'm just trying to keep things going. I'm hopeful that they're going to come back better than before.
Well, there's a lot more action going on. Don't you notice? Like maybe with online shows, ticketed, and there's like a lot of
Yeah, we kind of had to go from our idea of touring around the country and in Europe and stuff this year as a headliner to moving things to the digital platforms for a while. So we started a Patreon account. Yeah. And we were doing a lot of live streams there, and we've been just kind of experimenting with, different types of live streams, and we've been it's been pretty good reaction so far.
It's been pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm kind of tired of fucking live streams, man. I like things in.
You're a live performer, yeah.
I like tangible stuff and stuff that's So it was all right to do the live stream for a while. I mean, it's still fun to play whenever you can play, but music, especially our music, is meant to be heard happening right in front of you. So
yeah.
You lose that kind of connection with just live streaming.
Yeah, absolutely. At least they've gotten better. We're past that, Chris Martin with a cat in his sofa, March face.
Yeah, when Chris Martin is doing live streams, it's something has to happen.
Oh man, that's great. But you mentioned touring. Yeah, you mentioned Europe. You mentioned all the plans. You guys are relentless tour guys. You guys, I mean, there's years that you guys are like 80% of the year on the road. Has this, Mike, been in a way kind of like a good thing, like a blessing that you finally get to like sit down for a sec and kind of like look at what you've already accomplished and kind of like a timeout?
Yeah, definitely. I think the time away is you need to rest too, so it's good to be home, and we're always wanting to do stuff, whether it's touring or writing new material and recording. So we just took this opportunity so far this year to work on a new record and write a bunch of new songs and demo them and get plans lined up to having a new album done. by the time we get back to, hopefully
Can't wait.
venues
Can't wait.
open, So yeah, we're
man.
working on a new album. So we're not really wasting time or just doing nothing.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's great to hear. Let's talk about your beginnings for a second, Mike. You said you're in New York. You've always been in New York. You're from Queens, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Queens. Yep.
Yeah. How old were you when you first picked up a guitar, Mike?
That's a great question. I don't really know. I would say I was probably 13 or 15. 13 to 15 was probably the time.
So you weren't one of these like child prodigies like
Beethoven? No,
out of the womb.
The guitar was really a vessel for me to write. I always wanted to be a writer and of some kind, whether it was a poet or a short story writer or a novelist. But I started writing songs before I could even play, lyrics and forms and stuff and melodies in my head. And so the guitar I picked up as a vessel to kind of be able to get the song down versus just learning it just so I can play faster than.
So you were writing like short stories as a child, like or something like
that?
Yeah,
I was always kind of creative in terms of writing and storytelling and expression in that way. So songs kind of came more naturally to me.
Yeah, which is kind of what our heroes do anyway, right? Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, like they're storytellers, man.
Exactly, and those are the people that turned me on, the Bruce Springsteens, the Pettys, the Dylans, the John Lennons, people like that who I tend to really like people that were able to have prolific touring careers and be great live, and also were able to have a great body of work in terms of their content and their albums and their songs. Yeah. So that's why Tom Petty, he's probably my favorite.
Damn, man. Yeah, dude. I mean, when he passed, it was hard, wasn't it? Oof.
Yeah, I saw him 2 months before he died on tour. I saw the band, and they were awesome. It was great.
The 40th anniversary tour, right?
Yep. I saw them at Mountain Jam in upstate New York. It was fantastic.
But you know what, Mike? I don't know if you noticed this, because whenever, for some reason, this keeps popping up, and I talked to Mark Goodman, the MTV VJ, about it because he saw them that tour. I saw them in West Palm Beach. I thought that Tom Petty looked like he couldn't move, man, a little bit.
You're right. He looked a little slow. It was funny you say that because I noticed he was moving very slow and very carefully. It wasn't like he was freewheeling. Exactly. He was very calculated.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them before, but I assumed, he wasn't necessarily young to be, grinding on the road. So
he's not James Brown like Boogie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He never was. So I just thought he was getting older, but I guess he was injured. Makes sense.
He was injured. Yeah. He should have, Mike, man. Dude, if you're ever when your career in 50 years, you gotta postpone the tour, man. Don't just push for the fans, all right, man?
Take a break, right?
Yeah, man. The fans will understand, dude. Fans will understand.
And in a lot of ways, this year for us has been that break, kind of reformat, reprogram, and I think that goes for everybody. Everybody's kind of shedding skin and figuring out what they want to do and who they want to be and who they want to be with. So maybe it was a bit of a correction for everybody.
Maybe, absolutely, Mike. And by the way, the name of your band, of course, it's named after a Bob Dylan song. Since we're talking about Dylan and our heroes and Petty and all that, did you have a chance to listen to Dylan's songs from this year, from May?
I heard the one about JFK. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
I heard a couple of them.
Like
they're
17
cool,
minutes,
man.
right?
They're cool. They're dark. They're moody. He's doing his lyrics like he always does. He's my hero, man. That guy is unbelievable. His ability he changes kind of artistic direction so easily and always there's always something good even in the bad periods, so I don't know, I respect people like that who are willing to take a chance, like Neil Young, and people who don't give a fuck and they just are
it's amazing
being authentic all the time. I appreciate. I have a affinity for that, but I haven't gotten a chance to get into the new Dylan too much. But I heard it's pretty good. Everybody in the band likes it. So.
I mean, at that stage in his life, to be a 17-minute song about Kennedy's assassination, that's no picnic, man. But you guys, dude, like your songwriting, man, it's actually spectacular, man. Like we talked about Wait for Me, Virginia, but like all your stuff, man, it's every word, man. It shines through.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
And I think that's something missing today. A lot of people are writing the surface bullshit, and there's
Yeah.
not great famous songs anymore. You
No.
know, all the famous songs.
Elton John got in trouble the other week for saying that, like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
same shit.
he's one of the he's one of my favorite. He's amazing, so he could say whatever he wants, but he's not wrong. You know.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a shame. I saw somebody posted something online, and it was like, all of these albums are 50 years old this year, and it was just you wouldn't. This list was crazy.
Oh, man.
You know, in 50 years, I don't think we'll be looking back at 2020 saying all these great albums were released.
No,
So,
yeah,
it's a shame.
I know. I'm with you, man. Absolutely. Now, okay. So the beginnings of the band, you met obviously Jonathan Bonilla, and you've told this story a million times, Mike. So
I like how you got his name right. Because you're in Miami, Bonilla.
Yeah.
Everybody calls him Bonilla.
That's like Smith here, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He gets Bonilla, so Bonilla is nice to hear.
So I'm sorry to ask you this question for the 10,000th time, man, but you guys met in high school. Just kind of like take me to like the first time you guys met, because you guys met in high school, but you were in different circles, and then it was really in college where you kind of like wrapped it up together. How was that going?
Yeah, we met in high school in Queens, Malloy High School, and we weren't really close or anything, but we were just one of the few people who wanted to play music and play guitar. And so we did get together at a friend's house for a jam session at some point and hung out, but then we both kind of went our other ways, and then we both went away to college. I went to University of Delaware, and he went to the York School of Music, and we were there for a year. And midway, and we said, "What are we doing? We should be in New York, you know, trying to start a band." So we came back, and we formed the band. We were kicking it around the scene for a while, and you know, sneaking in underage, getting into clubs to play, you know, CBGBs and all these places,
like Sunday nights and all that shit, right?
Exactly. Like, you know, we were not even legally in these places playing them, but just wanted to get out and in the East Village and all these places in Manhattan and Brooklyn and wherever, just running wild basically. And we did that for a few years, and then we wanted to really take songwriting seriously, so we got together in his dad's garage over one summer when we were finished with college and all that, and we wrote our first record. Like, took it seriously and wrote our first record. We went down and recorded it, and we wound up putting together the lineup that we have now and forming Hollis Brown. And we went down and we had this album, and it got picked up by a label called Alive Records out of California. They put out a bunch of really cool records, and we got a little buzz over in Europe off of the release of the first record back in 2013, and we just kind of hit the road and just kept chasing it and touring our asses off and building every year a little bigger.
Hey, Europe
a little
loves
bigger.
you guys.
Yeah, we've been building a little bigger every year since 2013, and now it's 2020, and we've released a bunch of records, and we're still going, you know.
It's pretty solid, man. And you guys have a solid background in following in Europe, man. How would you talk about the difference between the European maybe clientele and the North American one?
Clientele. You know, it's different everywhere you go, every time you go. You know, it's like yin and yang of rock and roll. Sometimes you go there once and it's the best time you've ever been there, and you'll go back there and it's not as good, and or vice versa. So every day is really different. It's not easy to predict what's going to happen, but I just know we just show up and we try and put the best show on all the time. Yeah. But I love going to Europe. It's really unbelievable. It's great. It's great to see the different cultures and be reminded of how we're all kind of alike, even if we're a little different, and get the different food and see the different sites. It's really unbelievable.
Yeah, really cool, Mike. Now, Ride on the Train, of course, is your debut, and it's really phenomenal. It's very cool, easy listen, but it's the culmination of like all the songs you had written up to that point. Three Shots. I like that conversion, because Three Shots was the first album where you kind of like had like a time frame to write new material.
Yeah, the second album is always that. Yeah. You know, you spend your whole life making the first one. Exactly. For us, it was like 25 years. You know, and then you get 2 years to make the next one.
Exactly, and that one came out 5 years ago already.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Yeah. How do you look back on that Three Shots, Mike?
I look back on it now as a great period for the band. When we were doing it, it was very difficult because we were all younger and didn't know what we were doing, and we were broke, and we were just trying to stay on the road, and we were on the road nonstop for years. Right. You know, we opened for some amazing bands like the Counting Crows and the Zombies, and and we got to headline over in Europe maybe 2 or 3 times on that album cycle. So I remember it felt like we were imploding while we were actually doing the album cycle for Three Shots, because it was really difficult. We were making no money, and we were playing all the time, everywhere for years. But looking back, it was something that a band kind of has to do in order to have a career. So it was a growing period for us. So I look back on it probably more fondly than I remember it actually in the moment.
Building that thick skin,
Yeah, man, it was a grind for us, because the first record, we just made it how we wanted to. We got picked up, everything was fresh, everything was fun, and then by the time Three Shots happened, we had already been playing professionally for a few years, and then that album was really a grind, and we lost some band members over it. We gained some band members over it. It was, but I like the song, and I like the songs on the album a lot. It was a little bit more of a storytelling record than a personal record.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I look back fondly on it. It wasn't easy, but it was a good period.
Yeah, and what you said, reconciling, we talked to a lot of bands, and they have that period where, like, they're getting a more recognition, like all their boxes are being checked, but, like, not the bottom line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, exactly. So it's like that, like, what's going on? How do you make it all shoot straight? Yeah,
definitely.
So, Mike, you've done some great covers. Oh, Sweet Nothing from the Velvet Underground. Really good stuff, man, from Loaded album, which you guys love. But it got me thinking, because you're on record about talking to such great albums, David Bowie and, all this stuff. So I got to ask you, what's like the 5 albums that have like shaped you? Like, what's your Mount Rushmore?
Oh, jeez, man.
Yeah, man. Or you got to give an alien 5 albums to describe it.
Yeah, it changes for 5 albums. I guess I'm big into British rockers, British classic rockers doing like American style music. That's kind of so I guess if I have to say 5, I would say probably one from, probably Exile on Main Street would definitely be it. Dark Side of the Moon.
Nice.
Because I like psychedelic, melodic rock.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't even know, man. This is
it's impossible question.
I've been in on like a Zeppelin 4 probably would be on it.
Yeah.
Ziggy Stardust I like a lot.
What Petty album would you pick? Would you pick Damn the Torpedoes or maybe another one?
You know what? For Petty, I would probably pick Full Moon Fever, because that was the album that I first was introduced to Petty as a kid.
Yeah.
So that was like my Petty. I wasn't born yet when the Damn the Torpedoes Petty, but I was a kid when Full Moon Fever. I remember hearing that era. So I would say for me, that'd be one.
That's amazing, Mike. Man,
I like Blonde on Blonde is a great record.
Yeah.
Record. This is, that kind of world is.
Are you a Beatles guy at all, or
that's my favorite band, man. That's why I was looking. I was gonna say Revolver, probably.
Okay. Cool. Now, Mike, we were talking about rock and roll earlier, and then the quality of the music nowadays, and I did want to ask you. It seems like there's 3 schools of thought regarding rock today, right? The first one is, and that's the one I kind of believe in, and it's that rock and roll is cyclical, and it's like not here right now, but it'll come back. Like, people will get tired of the DJ pressing the thing. Like, that's one school of thought. The other one is that that rock and roll nowadays is like represented in some sort of country, like Margot Price or Butch Walker or like Jason Isbell kind of thing. Like, that's like the spirit of rock was in the 70s. And then there's the third one that is the pessimistic one that is like, rock is dead, no more guitars, kids don't like that shit. Where do you fall?
I'm probably a combination of 1 and 3.
Okay.
The first one, I think rock and roll is not only a genre of music. Oh, sorry, my fucking phone went off. It's not only a genre of music, but it's an attitude or a lifestyle. It's how you carry yourself, almost in the same way of punk rock. And I think that rock and roll kind of is embodied by a lot of the hip hop artists more so. When you look back in the 90s, all the rockers were trying to get rid of that excess thing. The grunge was kind of in. Everybody was but all the rappers were doing the flamboyant present that the rock stars, the Mick Jaggers and the Robert Plants did.
Yeah.
So I see rock and roll as kind of like Kanye West to me is the biggest rock star now, because he's just out there. He's you know, so in the first example you said I could kind of see it, but when it comes down to the genre itself, I don't know if there's been a band in the last, you know, probably in the last 10 or 15 years that's been able to get to that, the kid to get the actual music itself to be the main thing. You know, I do think rock and roll is alive though, because I think live music is well, this year it's not, but in general, the touring business was the best it's ever been. Yeah. So, you know, people still have a craving to hear live people playing live instruments.
People want to see sweating, and people want to see the effort.
Yeah, and people want to be there and feel it in the room and do all that. So so to me, rock and roll is alive in that. But rock and roll is not necessarily Instagram's fucking flavor of the week. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, it's what it is.
The whole Spotify playlist thing, it's like fascinating to me, by the way. It's like such
a you know, unless you're making your, you know, acoustic chill music.
Right. Exactly.
What's Spotify?
Mike, you've been so generous with your time. Let me ask you a few more questions, man. But like, this is fun. I feel like I'm talking rock and roll with a buddy at a bar, man.
All right.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned you were playing the CBGB, and it got me thinking. Because John Bonilla also once mentioned that the New York City Winery was his favorite venue.
Nice.
Yeah. He said that, but it's closed since, like, I think actually Disney relocated its headquarters there. So it got me thinking.
They're opening a new one though in New York.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. But it got me thinking, man. Like, you've been a lifelong New Yorker. What's the truth? I mean, I obviously love going to New York, but as a visitor, but as a local, what's the truth there with seeing all these cultural things die and become like banks? And is there any truth? Is that overblown a little bit?
No, I don't think it's overblown. I think it's very true that the edge, you know, New York became a wealthy person's city, especially when Bloomberg was the mayor. You know what I mean? It became hard to, you know, I'm a child. My parents are immigrants, so they immigrated to New York. I was born in the mid 80s, and they were able to work regular jobs.
They came from Italy, Mike?
Yeah, they're Italian. Yeah. So they were able to, that period, you know, my grandfather was a waiter at the Plaza Hotel. So he was able to come here, have a regular kind of job and own a home and build a family, you know, but nowadays you can't do that. If you're an off the boat immigrant and you want to get a job in a restaurant, you can't own something in New York. So I think that that's definitely true. The gentrification and the, you know, corporatization of the city, which is why right now it's taking such a hit, because all of those people who came in and forced all the people who lived here just decided to go to their Hamptons house or their Midwest house or their West Coast. You know, they just decided to leave and go somewhere else because it was getting, you know, risky to live here. So
true. I never knew.
So it became more plastic in that sense, but New York has always been an evolving and changing thing. It's not like anybody deserves it or holds it. So it's always evolving and always changing based on the dynamics of income and nationality and a lot of different factors. So it's always moving and it's always changing in that regard. But it did definitely change from what it was, you know.
It's true, man. It's true. No, and it's funny you mentioned that, because I didn't know I had so many fucking people who loved going to Wyoming all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, where were you the past fucking 20 years in Wyoming, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Mike, go ahead.
I was going to say, but, you know, I'm a New Yorker. I've been here my whole life, but I've also traveled an immense amount. Like when you mentioned Wyoming, I was just in Wyoming in December. Right. And it was awesome. It's beautiful there, and there's some amazing things there. So, you know, it's just about where you want to be. That's for me what it's about. And this pandemic, I think, really woke people up to that.
Yeah, for sure, Mike. Mike, let's leave us with this. Leave us with just some life memories, man. That you've been on stage and you're like pinch me moment that you see.
Oh man, I've had a bunch of them. Definitely singing "Walk This Way" with DMC from Run DMC was a huge. That was a pinch me
That's
moment
awesome.
for me.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is crazy.
Where was that?
That was
What city?
at in New York at Brooklyn Bowl in New York City. That was
Oh,
unbelievable.
nice.
Yeah, super cool. Counting Crows tour was definitely a pinch me moment. Playing Red Rocks and playing some
Red
of these
Rocks.
places that had, you know, there would be 10,000 people out there, and you're playing that tour was definitely a pinch me moment. Playing with Cyndi Lauper was
Nice.
a really big moment. Doing Money Changes Everything, one of her songs, we backed her for that. That was really cool. There's been a bunch of them, man. There's a lot of them.
I love it, man.
But those are a few of the live moments that were great.
Well, that's
And
awesome.
even doing record release, you know, the last record release show was a great one for us because our third album of original songs, it took us, you know, 6 years to make that happen, and we had our best year yet in 2019. So, you know.
Yeah. What's the record that you released for Record Store Day?
For Record Store Day, we released two different ones. One was the EP called Cluster of Pearls. It was just 5 songs that were left over from the Ride on the Train sessions, and we put it out as the EP. And we also did a recreation of the Velvet Underground, Hollis Brown Gets Loaded.
Amazing.
So
one of those is like
they're all
on
Velvet
eBay.
Underground songs.
One of those is like on eBay for hundreds of dollars, man.
Yeah, the Velvet Underground one took a life of its own because I don't know, it was a random thing. We just did it in 2 days, and we wanted to only make 1,000 copies of it just as a fun kind of, you know. And yeah, it seems to have done something crazy on its own organically. So yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, it's a recreation of the Loaded album, which is 50 years old this year. It was on that list of things I was telling you about earlier. It was Loaded by the Velvet Underground.
Everything's turning old, man.
Yeah, but
even U2, I'm a U2 guy. All that you can leave behind, the one that has Beautiful Day and all that Elevation, is 20 already.
I saw that. I see you got U2 behind you on the on the wall there.
I'm a little bit of a U2 freak, man. I can't hide it. Even though.
What's your favorite album of theirs?
Achtung Baby.
All right.
The one where the Edge was divorced and there were about breakup
as a band. That was like a dark, not dark. I don't know. It was a heavy album. Heavy record.
You know, it's all good shit, man. When
I like the Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's cool, man.
Most people do.
Mike, you said it all, man.
Well, thank you for having me, man. I
Absolutely. It's been a great time. Hollis Brown Band, guys. We can't wait to see you on the road, dude. Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you down in Miami soon, I hope.
All right. Take care, man.
All right. Later.